The Pikangikum First Nation is an Ojibwe First Nation located on the 1,808-hectare Pikangikum 14 Reserve, in Unorganized Kenora District in Northwestern Ontario, Canada. The main centre is the community of Pikangikum on Pikangikum Lake on the Berens River, part of the Hudson Bay drainage system. It is approximately 100 kilometres north of the town of Red Lake. The community has a registered population as of September 2011 of 2,443, of whom 2,334 live on the reserve. Society. A 2005 Walatay Native Communications Society survey found that the residents of Pikangikum have one of the highest rates of original language retention of any First Nation in Northern Ontario. The language is Ojibwe, the major dialect of Anishinaabe peoples. In 2000, the First Nation was reported to have the highest suicide rate in the world. A report by the Office of the Chief Coroner of Ontario released June 1, 2011 regarding 16 deaths by suicide between 2006 and 2008 on the reserve showed a pattern of inhalant abuse by young women aggravated by poor educational, health, child welfare, and other services. Clans. The community has the following: Dudum, Caribou, Sturgeon, Pelican. Government. The Pikangikum First Nation is governed by a council elected via a custom electoral system consisting of a chief, deputy chief and 9 councillors. The current chief is Dean Owen and deputy chief is Jonah Strang. Pikangikum First Nation is a member of Treaty 5 and the Independent First Nations Alliance. Transportation. The community is accessible primarily by airplane at the Pikangikum Airport, although it is also served by Pikangikum Water Aerodrome. It has winter road access north to Poplar Hill First Nation and south to Red Lake and Ontario Highway 125. Economy. Unemployment rates are estimated to be around 90% in Pikangikum. White Feather Forest Initiative. Since 1996, Pikangikum First Nation has been pursuing its White Feather Forest Initiative, a land-based community economic development renewal and resource stewardship initiative. Through this initiative, the First Nation is working with the province of Ontario to manage the White Feather Forest, 12,200 square kilometres of Crown land in the Pikangikum customary land use area. In 2006, the First Nation completed a land use strategy named Keeping the Land, which was approved by the province through the Ministry of Natural Resources. The land use strategy provides guidance for the future management of proposed new land use activities, such as commercial forestry, protected areas and eco-cultural tourism. Keeping the Land provides a vision for the management of proposed new land uses rooted in the indigenous knowledge and customary stewardship traditions of Pikangikum people. Keeping the Land is made up of 3 key components: stewardship strategy, and obligation to respect all living beings. Customary activities, all those physical, mental and spiritual states of well-being that are needed for survival on the land. Economic development, new livelihood practices adapted to customary stewardship approach to provide for the survival of Pikangikum people in a contemporary cultural context. Recreation. Hockey on adjacent Lake Pikangikum is a favorite pastime of the youth. Health concerns. Youth suicide. Over the past 2 decades, Pikangikum First Nation has experienced extraordinarily high youth suicide rates. Usually girls or young women hanging themselves. Recent averages for 1992 to 2000 exceed 200 per 100,000, possibly the highest rate of suicide of any community in the world. In 2000, 470 per 100,000 deaths were attributed to suicide. As of 2011, the situation had not changed. In the summer of 2008, 8 people between the ages of 8 and 18 committed suicide. Again, 6 months into 2011, 5 people between the ages of 16 and 26 had already taken their lives, prompting the former chief of the community to issue a cry for assistance. In total, there have been 74 documented cases of suicide from 1990 to 2007, many of whom were women and girls who habitually huff gasoline. The perpetual cycle of grief in Pikangikum makes this situation unique, due to influence of elders in the community, who strongly voice the religious opposition to burying Aboriginal youth who have committed suicide in cemeteries. Families of youth who have taken their own lives are forced to bury their family members in their own front yards. Burial in the front yard is an Ojibwe tradition.